Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And remember, Amazon Fire, Roku TV, that's where you find our newest home for Locked On Sports Atlanta every single day. Appreciate you guys joining me here on A to Z. Give me a follow on Twitter at Mark Zinno. Coming up, we'll hand out Shovels of Wisdom as well. We got some Braves information to get to before they start the final home stretch, final 2 weeks of the regular season. Let's get to Georgia as they get set to take on South Carolina. They hit the road for the first time this year, travel to Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, which is supposed to be an unseasonably mild Columbia afternoon, only about 85 degrees. Typically that game is like sweltering, but nonetheless, Georgia heavy favorites in the game. It is what it is. I think they end up covering, but they're an extremely public bet this week, which nauseates the hell out of me, so I won't touch it with my own money. But if you put a gun to my head, I'll tell you Georgia would cover the 24.5. In fact, 3 of the last 4 meetings, Georgia scored at least 40 and hasn't given up more than 17. So it's trending that way, but Shane Beamer's got a team that comes at you for 60 minutes. So I actually also like the over. I think the number's a little bit depressed at 52, but beyond all that. Seth Emerson, who covers the Bulldogs for The Athletic, put his Georgia mailbag together. And they went over a couple of topics, one of them including like who's the second best team in the East, like if Georgia, for whatever reason, slips up, who would have a chance to come and get them. If you guys have followed me, you know that I have been high on Tennessee all offseason leading into this season. And look, well, I think that Tennessee is a 8-win team this year. They have a rougher schedule to get to Georgia than Kentucky does. Here's the thing. They've already beaten Pittsburgh, okay? They get Florida at home in 2 weeks after they take on Akron this week. But then they got to go to LSU, and that could be a night game. Who knows? Very tough to play down there in Baton Rouge at night. And then they host Alabama. They get a break at UT Martin. They host Kentucky, and then they travel to Georgia on November 5th. So they're playing 3 more ranked teams between now and the time that they face Georgia in Sanford Stadium. Their record may look a little bit worse, right? I mean, they'd have to beat Florida, but theoretically, even if they don't beat Florida, you know, their other 3 losses, Alabama, Kentucky, and Georgia, by the way, still gets me over 8 wins. They'd be 8-4, 7.5 wins. They'd be 8-4. But again, they have to win at LSU. So who knows what that game's going to be like. If they win at Florida, they're going to be in the driver's seat. Kentucky, on the other hand, has a very easy schedule before they see Tennessee and Georgia, by the way. They get Youngstown State this week, Northern Illinois. They have to travel to Ole Miss, which theoretically they could lose. They host South Carolina, Mississippi State. Then they travel to Tennessee on October 29th. They get 2 more weeks against Cupcakes in Missouri and Vanderbilt. And they face Georgia on November 19th, second to last game of the regular season, which, you know, again, is it possible that Kentucky could only have 1 loss heading into the game against Georgia? Yeah. It is possible. Whether they lose to Ole Miss or to Tennessee, if they split with them, they have 1 loss going into the game against Georgia, which is going to be a revenge game for Kirby Smart. I can't wait. Kirby did not forget what Mark Stoops pulled at the end of last year. I'm telling you. He's going to make it personal. He is going to paint the ground red in Lexington when they play. And I'm excited for it. Can't wait for that game to come out. So Georgia taking on South Carolina this week. I don't have any concerns about them in this game. I do have a concern about them in the big picture for the future because I think there could be one coach who, as Seth Emerson points out, that might not be there for the foreseeable future. I'll tell you who that is in just a moment. First, a word from my friends at Coffee AM. Every morning, guys, it's the routine. Make it your routine. Get up, pop some Coffee AM in the Keurig, or if you want to brew it, they can grind coffee up for you as well. But you're talking about the freshest, best tasting coffee you're ever going to have. And why is it so fresh? Because they roast it and then ship it on the same day or very close to it. And so you know when you're getting it, this product is going to be amazing. And you know it's fresh too because when you open the box, you're going to smell it. And these are coffees from all over the world, guys. I mean, just they get the freshest crops and the best grade coffee out there and roast them. It is absolutely outstanding from Costa Rica, Sumatra, Kenya, Tanzania, all over. You're going to love everything Coffee AM has to offer. Go to coffeeam.com/lockedon and look at the full menu of coffees, teas, and gift sets. You can use the coupon code LOCKEDON to get 15% off at checkout. Again, that's coffeeam.com/lockedon. Coffee AM, the best small batch coffee roaster in America, and they're right here in Georgia. We have all been pleased with the progression. At least I have been. Not only have I been pleased, I've been pleasantly surprised with the progression of the Georgia passing game. Georgia has the second best passing offense in the nation right now through 2 weeks. Granted, it's only through 2 weeks, but one of the things that I noted in my write-up for that I do for one of my gambling websites in the Georgia South Carolina game is that South Carolina's rush defense is awful. It's bad. They're giving up nearly 250 yards a game on the ground through their first 2 games. Like, this is a game that Georgia would salivate over 2 years ago just to be able to run down their throat because it's simple and it's easy and you're hitting them right in their weakest spot. I still don't think that's going to be the case this week. I think you're going to see a very balanced attack. I think you're also going to see one that skews towards the passing game. Why? Because they're at the point right now where they've developed it enough and are able to take advantage. And not only that, they're going to get passes to the guys out of the backfield. Kenny McIntosh, Kendall Milton catching a ton of balls out of the backfield so far through 2 games. I think that continues. And I think Stetson Bennett is a guy that they completely trust to be able to throw the ball on any down in any situation. This passing offense has evolved. That said, Jeff Monken, or is it Todd? Which one is it? I always get the brothers confused. Todd Monken. Sorry, Jeff coaches at Army. That's why I'm so in tune with Jeff Monken. Apologies. Anyway, Todd Monken, has really developed this passing offense into one that I think by the end of the year is going to garner him some attention as a possible hiring cycle replacement. Now, you want me to get really crazy? And nobody has a reason to want to take this job, but if Nebraska comes calling for Todd Monken, does he leave Georgia to do it? Power 5 program, historic program, got a chance to build his own thing. It's going to take a while, and you're going into an area that's going to be incredibly tough in the Big Ten, especially in the coming years with the programs that are going into the Big Ten. But, I mean, he might get 2 or 3 years, as long as he's not as bad as Scott Frost, as long as he's not losing to Georgia Southern and Northwestern on the regular and losing at home in season openers. Yeah, got to make sure you win that first one. But I think that one way or another, Todd Monken might not be here for long. And as Seth Emerson points out of The Athletic, that whether it's another college job or even the NFL that comes calling, there is a sense of, that he might get a job somewhere else that is not Georgia, or at least be offered it. Does he want it? We'll see. But there have been a lot of Georgia assistants that have all moved on. Mel Tucker, Sam Pittman, Shane Beamer, Dan Lanning. I mean, these guys have all gotten big-time jobs at big-time universities because they're really good assistants. And that's the nature of doing what you do. I mean, we've seen Saban lose assistants for years. It's just part of the deal. It's just part of the whole situation. So how much longer will Monken be here? Who knows? If this offense continues to ascend the way it looks like they're going to continue to ascend this year, and you get Stetson Bennett in a Heisman conversation because of it, someone's going to offer him a job. Whether he takes it is a whole different conversation. Somebody's going to offer him a job. And when you have your head coach making over $10 million, if he wants to stay, that's when the head coach goes to the administration and says, yeah, you better give him a big bump in pay and make him one of the highest paid assistants if you want him to stay here. Then it comes down to money. So there's that. All right, coming up next, even though everybody wants this to happen, one person just doesn't care, period. That's next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Also,